Who do the Mariners need to have a huge year, and will George Kirby be in the Mariners Hall of Fame? Stay tuned for this episode of Mindful Mariner. So welcome to Mindful Mariner. This is the first time we're ever doing this, so this can be a little bit of a longer episode. But this is basically where I go to Twitter, ask you guys to ask me questions, and I answer them in this video. So we're going to start off with a good one from Jolly819. Who do you think will be the biggest breakout player this season, and do you think Driveline may push Ty to become that player for the M's? So this question is a good one because to me, I actually put them hand in hand. I personally think Ty France will be the guy that has a breakout year for the Mariners. I think he could very easily have another 2022 year. Seeing what I see about Ty France and knowing his work ethic, especially going to Driveline now with JP, I don't think he's going to let another year like last year happen again. He knows that his skill set is way better than what he showed last year, and I don't think he's going to let it happen again. Let's just kind of compare Ty France's 2022 and his 2023, and maybe it'll give you guys a better perspective on why he's so important to this team. So in 2022, Ty hit .274 with 83 RBIs and 20 home runs. He had a 125 WRC plus as well as a 2.3 WAR, and the Mariners' record that season was 90-72, and as you guys know, we made the playoffs that year. And mentioning the Mariners' record that year and comparing it to this past season, you're going to see a huge difference why Ty France has such a big impact on this team. So that 2.3 wins above replacement is going to play a huge factor in that. Last year, Ty hit .250 with 12 home runs and 58 RBIs. He lost 21 points on his WRC plus, only having a 104, and he only had a .5 wins above replacement. So he knocked off about 2 wins above replacement last year compared to the year prior, which if you look at it, we were 88-74 and missed the playoffs by 1 game. So if Ty France had a similar year that he did to the year before, all of a sudden the Mariners are a playoff team without question. So basically, to sum up this question, I do think that Ty France will be the guy to have the breakout year. And I do think Driveline is going to help him a lot. I don't think it's going to make him the greatest hitter on the planet, but I do think it's definitely going to help him a lot, and it's going to help out the Mariners lineup. So moving on to our next question, it's from Zach. He asks, will George Kirby be inducted into the Mariners Hall of Fame one day? So to answer this question, I took a little bit of a different approach. Let's just throw it out there. In my opinion, yes, George Kirby, if he spends most of his career with the Mariners, he will definitely be in the Mariners Hall of Fame one day. But in order for you to see how good George Kirby really is, I took Felix Hernandez and George Kirby's stats in their first 2 seasons and compared the two side by side. So Felix's first season was in 2006, and he only had 12 games started, so I removed that season and basically went on to his essentially second and third season, just because this gives you a better understanding of the numbers and it makes it a little easier to follow. And another thing I did is I completely took wins and losses out of this because it's not fair to compare how good the Mariners were back then to how they are now. So this is just strictly these players' stats. So in their first 2 seasons, George Kirby had started in 56 games while Felix started in 61 games. George threw for 320.2 innings and Felix threw for 381.1 innings across this 2-year span. Now we're going to dive in a little deeper. So we're going to start off with Ks per 9, which George Kirby has an 8.67 K per 9 and Felix had an 8.05. As we know, George Kirby has amazing control of the strike zone, and his walk per 9 was 1.21, while Felix's was 2.67 in those first 2 years. So right there is just a drastic difference alone and shows how good George Kirby is at controlling the strike zone. And across those 2 seasons, George had a 3.37 ERA, while Felix had a 4.22 ERA across those seasons. And going back to one of my favorite stats is the wins above replacement, where George Kirby had a 3.6 and Felix Hernandez had a 3.4, so both very good in that retrospect. And we also threw home runs per 9 in here, where George had a 0.97 and Felix had a 1.02. So basically what this is getting at is George Kirby is a very good pitcher, and he was even better than Felix was in his first 2 seasons with the Mariners. And we all know how good Felix was. So I think Kirby is well on his way to being in the Mariners Hall of Fame, especially if he spends most of his career with us. And he's a huge part of why we have one of the best rotations in baseball. While he still has struggled to find that consistency here and there, he is one of the most dominant young pitchers in the sport, and I don't see him slowing that down anytime soon. So our last and final question is from my guy Jake. He asks, if the Mariners miss the playoffs again, do you think that should be cause for some front office firings? So right off the bat, my initial answer would be yes. I think it also has the potential to have for some front office quits. So as you know, during this offseason, Mariner fans are very frustrated with the front office. And there's a lot of pointing fingers at Stanton or Dipoto. But it seems like a root of the issues comes from up top from Stanton. I don't think Jerry Dipoto is as much of a problem as people think. I just think he's doing what he can with what he has. That was kind of a tongue twister. I don't know if Jerry's the guy that we want to be answering this, the same with Hollander. But I also don't necessarily think they're being given the resources that they need to go out and make the big moves that we want them to. So personally, I kind of think it's going to reach a point where they're just going to get so frustrated with the whole process and all the fans just ripping into them when realistically it's coming from higher up. I think there may be a potential that one of them quits and tries to find another job within another organization that gives them the freedom to go out and get who they want. So yeah, this is kind of a tough question because I do think definitely it's possible that some people get fired, but I also think there's a potential for people to leave as well. But let's just hope not, honestly. Let's just hope they go out and get who we want them to get, and we can come into the season optimistic and hoping to get a World Series under our belt. As of the time of this recording, we still haven't made any major moves. My gut is telling me that they will be making a move soon, and it's going to be a guy that we're all going to be happy with. Do I think that they're going to be able to fill all the holes that we need filled? No. But my gut is telling me that they're going to go get 2 or 3 guys that will definitely have a major impact on our team. Please let me know if you guys agree or disagree with anything I'm saying. I'd love to hear your guys' feedback. It's been awesome being able to interact with you guys over on X. And just go follow me over there so you can be tuned and ask questions for the next video. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and we will see you in the next one. Peace out.